Hey guys, it's Mr. C, and today we're going to look at some properties of real numbers, and then we're going to simplify some algebraic expressions. And we usually start out with some properties of real numbers. You may have already had this as a lesson, and if you didn't, that's fine, but I'm going to go over a few of these. This one is a property of real numbers. It says, identify the property illustrated below. And so you have this list of properties, like additive inverses, multiplicative inverses, and so commutative, associative properties. So I'm gonna look at a few of these. This one has a times 9 minus 7 is equal to 9 minus 7 times a. And so if I look at the property that goes from the left side to the right side, let's get rid of that. What happens the left side and the right side, the 9 minus 7 stays the same, but the a changes places. And so what happens is the a moves from here to here. Now this is gonna be the same product on both sides, but what we're using is a commutative property of multiplication. The commutative property of multiplication for that one. All right. Here we have another one. These are kind of difficult. These are usually found in the course tests, not the usual ones you see in class. This time you have an 8m plus 9m plus 2, and you have 8m plus 9m plus 2. So the order of these three with addition is the same on both, but the parentheses here have been moved in front of these two. The sum is still going to be the same on both sides because all you did was just group them differently. So whenever you group them differently like this on both sides, you're talking about the associative property. So this is the associative property. Of, and because the operation is addition, we're going to say addition. All right. This one's interesting because you have parentheses on the left side, but no parentheses over here. So you might be tempted to say that that's going to be some kind of an associative property, but for associative property, you're going to have parentheses on both sides, and here you just have them on this side. But if you notice, if I distribute the 6 to the 5x, 6 times 5x is 30x, and if I distribute the 6 to the 2, 6 times 2 is 12, and what I really used was the distributive property. For that one. Now let's take a look at this one. On this one we see the parentheses on the right hand side, but no parentheses on this side. So what happened here was kind of distributing in reverse. If I distribute the n to the 5, I get my 5n, and if I distribute the n to the 12, I get 12n. This is to illustrate that this can happen on either side of this equation right here for the distributive property to work. And so this time it's the same thing as distributive property. Okay, so that one's distributive property. Now we'll look at this one. All right, so what's going on with this one? All right, so we have 9 plus 3b plus 8 equals 3b plus 8 plus 9. The order is different. That's a key giveaway here, that the order is different. So and there's parentheses. So the 3b plus 8 looks like the same here and the same here, but the 9 changed places. Here it's at the front and here's at the back. And so that would actually be the commutative property of, and since we have addition going on here and here, addition. Okay, and another property. Here we have k plus 5k plus 8, and it looks like what happened was the plus 8's on both sides. So I'm going to kind of ignore that. The main stuff that's happening is here and here. The 8's in the same position on both sides. So, but if I distribute this back like this, I get 5k and another k. Well, that's where they are right here. So this is really, again, the distributive property. So that's the distributive property. All right, let's look at some examples now where we have to actually simplify some expressions. So when they ask you to simplify an algebraic expression, what they're asking you to do is remove parentheses and combine like terms. So we have no parentheses here, so we don't really have to worry about parentheses for this one, but we do have like terms. And like terms have the same exact variables with the same exponents in those variables. So we have a 12x and a 3x. 12x and another 3x, because that's positive, makes a total of 15x. Okay, then we have a positive 4y and a positive 1y. And that total, if you add those together, combine them, I like the word combine better than add, 4y and another one make 5y. And then that's all you can do. You can't combine these because these two variables are not like variables, they're not the same variable. So these terms are not like terms, and you just have to leave it like that. All right. Now let's take a look at this one. No parentheses, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have an A and a 7A, and it's positive 7A. So a positive A and another 7 would make 8A. All right, then we have a negative 4 and a positive 11. So if you combine negative 4 and positive 11, you would get a positive 7 from that. And again, these two terms are not like terms, so we just have to leave them. Now we have some parentheses. So now we have to do some distributing. So with these parentheses now, to remove parentheses, we have to use our distributive property. So when I take that 6 times n, you multiply, I'm going to get 6n. If I take the 6 and the 8, or the negative 8, right here, 6 times negative 8 would be negative 48. And then I have a minus 4n at the end that I just have to bring down like this. All right, so let's see where we're at now. I've got 6n, minus 48, minus 4n. So I have two terms that have the same variable. So those are like terms. So a 6n and a negative 4n. Well, that total would be a 2n. The minus 48, there's only one of those constants. And so minus 48 will go here. And then that's all we can do, 2n minus 48. All right, this one we have some more parentheses. And so the 10k is not doing anything. That's just going to come on down. But this negative right here in front of the parentheses is going to change these signs of both of these right there. So I'm going to have a negative k. Remember, negatives and minus are the same thing. Negative 3 minus 3, and then plus 2. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. So I've got a 10k and a negative 1k. And that's going to make 9k. All right, then I have a negative 3 and a positive 2. And if I combine those together, I'm going to get a negative or a minus 1. And that should be it for that one. Now these are going to get progressively more complicated, and that's okay, because that's what it should do. Okay, so this time we got some parentheses, and we know that that's the first thing we have to deal with. And so we're going to have to distribute this guy first. So negative 2 times 2x would be a negative 4x. Then we have a negative 2 times a positive 5, and that would be negative 10. Now these two terms aren't doing anything over here, so I'm just going to bring those down. Plus 5x plus 6. All right, so now let's see where we're at. Okay, x is first, negative 4x, positive 5x, and that's going to actually just give me a positive 1x when I get done combining those together. Then I have a negative 10 and a positive 6. So if I combine those together, I'm going to get negative 10, positive 6 should give me a negative 4. And so my final answer would just be x minus 4. And that one's done. Okay, this one, I've got some parentheses. Deal with those first. So this time I have 4 times x, which is 4x. I have 4 times y, which should give me a 4y. I put a plus there because there's a positive there, and that's a positive 4. Still minus 5x, and still minus y. All right, so now let's go ahead and combine some like terms. 4x and negative 5x, when I combine those together, make negative 1x. Notice I don't put the 1 here. You can if you want to, but most people usually after a while just kind of drop it because a 1 doesn't really change it at all. Okay, then I have a 4y and a negative 1y, and that's going to combine to make a positive 3y. And that's all I can do with that. And that one's done. Okay, this one. Here we have, this 8b is not doing anything. I'm going to drop it down. But here's where the action starts. So I have a positive 3 times 2b. So that's going to give me a plus 6b. Okay, then I have a positive 3 times that c right there. And that's going to give me a positive 3c. Positive 3 times positive c, positive 3c. And then I got that minus 3 at the end. I'm just going to leave that. So now I'm taking a look at it, and I'm trying to see what I can do with that. Well, as far as like terms are concerned, I do have these two like terms, 8b and 6b. So 8 plus 6 would be 14. But now see these two right here, they have nothing in common with each other. And so those two terms are not like terms. So I'm just going to drop that down. And then finally this last one, I'm going to just drop that one down too. And my final answer this time has 3 terms in it because all 3 of them are not like terms. All right. So now let's talk about this one. Okay, so we got some couple parentheses going on here. We've got, first of all, this x out front, and we can just drop that down because nothing's happening with it. But there is right here. So that negative 5 times y will be a negative or a minus 5y. Then we have a negative 5 again times 2. So that's going to give me negative 10. Now let's look at these parentheses. There's nothing in front of these parentheses right here other than a 1, and it's positive. So when that happens, there's really nothing you can do with these parentheses. You can just remove them. Plus 3x plus 1, and it doesn't hurt anything. All right, so let's start looking at some like terms now. I have an x and a 3x. Okay, that should combine together to make a 4x. Okay, my next ones, I'm going to deal with the y's here. And that one, not that, not that. So it looks like it's just going to be minus 5y right there. Last, I've got a negative 10 and a positive 1. So if I take those two and I combine these together, I'm going to get a negative 9 out of that. And so now again, I have 3 terms for my answer, and there's really nothing else I can do with that. They just have to be left alone. So to summarize, when you're simplifying algebraic expressions, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to combine like terms, and you're going to remove parentheses. And you usually have to remove the parentheses first with distributing. And that's pretty much it. So remember to like my video and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.